As of the time of me recording this, the Spider-Man trailer has not been released yet. I don't know exactly what time it's going to be released, but I believe this video will be up before that. But I wanted to read this article. I also wanted to say I was actually happy to see how the Netflix series of Marvel characters was integrated into the MCU. I didn't necessarily think they had to do that, but I did like the way they did it. Although it didn't feel like it was done across the board. You didn't really see Luke Cage, you didn't really see the Iron Fist, you didn't really see Jessica Jones, but to some degree those characters I'm not sure would have worked necessarily being integrated into the MCU. So I kind of understand. But Daredevil was one of those characters that I think it was a necessity. I think they had to integrate that one. And Punisher is also one of those characters that I think you just had to integrate. John Bernthal does such a great job as Punisher that now when I think about the Punisher as a character in cinema, I think John Bernthal. He's the first person that comes to mind. Anyway, let's get into this article right here. Again, by the time I upload this video, most of this information might already be known, seen. I don't know when the clip is going to drop. Anyway, Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer reveals first look at Punisher versus Spider-Man. Now, I wondered because I had heard before, we knew that the Punisher was definitely going to be in this new Spider-Man movie. I'd heard it was going to be a versus, like, them against each other initially, but I didn't know. You know how you wonder, like, you hear the rumors and it's like, yeah, this is, people are saying this, but is it really going to play out like this? Well, apparently it is. I would imagine they're not going to be at each other's throat for the whole movie. I'd imagine at one point they battle, probably come to some consensus, some understanding, and maybe that consensus and understanding will be around the Incredible Hulk. We shall see. John Bernthal made his official MCU return as the Punisher in Daredevil Born Again Season 1, while Frank Castle isn't expected to feature in the show's second batch of episodes. He is getting a special presentation and a starring role in Spider-Man Brand New Day this summer. Now, here's something else that I really I think would have been possible. I don't know if they can pull it off now. Maybe they could. A Punisher movie, like a legit Punisher movie. And the good thing is, here's the good thing. You don't really have to do the whole Punisher backstory all over again. Anybody who's watched the Netflix shows, you already got enough backstory of Punisher, or you could go back and watch some of that stuff and get that. We could jump right into some kind of, you know, some Punisher story arc. I think that would be a better use of the Punisher, in my humble opinion, versus doing another show. But who am I? In the ninth trailer clip released today, we finally get to see the Punisher in action as he mows the web-slinger down with his battle van. Oh, did the trailer actually release already? Okay, I guess this is it right here. Let me see. I think this is it. Let me make sure. See if I got all my audio set up. Yeah, that's all set up. Let me turn this down a little bit so I'm not blowing eardrums out here. And let's see what we got. Okay, so little short clip. And I think there was actually a bunch of those clips that have actually been released today. I saw another article that seemed to have a bunch of that stuff. I haven't watched them yet. I'm just waiting for the trailer to be uploaded, and then I'll watch that. We finally get to see the Punisher in action. So I read that. While some will argue that Peter Parker's Spidey sense should have warned him, chances are Frank didn't mean the hero any real harm. Plus, this particular superpower has long been quite vaguely defined in the MCU. I mean, even though it's been vaguely defined, quote unquote, in the MCU, most people who are familiar with Spider-Man, which look, Spider-Man is one of those characters that I personally believe understanding of Spider-Man is kind of like understanding of Batman and Superman. I think it's kind of ubiquitous. So I think this is something that most people actually do know. So this is probably something that maybe needs to be sussed out. And when I'm sure it will. I hope it will at least. Let's see. Frank isn't rocking a beard in this sneak peek, and we can see that the anti-hero still has his classic logo on his chest armor. You'll likely recall that in set photos, Spidey was spotted perched on the front of the battle van as the Punisher aimed a gun at him. They clearly aren't going to have the closest relationship in Spider Man Brand New Day, though that was to be expected given their comic book dynamic. But again, I would imagine for the movie, this is how it plays out initially. And then at some point, they come to some understanding for, could be a myriad of reasons and then go on to do something together. Last December, Bernthal shared new insights into the connection and revealed that he worked with Tom Holland and filmmaker Destin Cretton to ensure continuity between Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Punisher special presentation. That's good. It's good when you see things like people worried about continuity. You don't want to do things because look, you got to know fans are going to pick you apart. And anything you do that doesn't line up, and people have done this throughout, the release of Marvel movies, they are going to snipe at anything that is a blatant miss. I'm not as critical. This is my take on a lot of these comic book Marvel movies, comic book movies in general. I don't necessarily judge super duper harshly if something is changed from the comic book. Now, obviously, that depends on what it is. If it's an egregious change, it's like, yeah, you should have left that alone. But sometimes there are certain things that I'm like, if the movie's enjoyable, I'll let that pass. Around that same time, there was also around that same time, there will also be this Punisher special that's coming out that I think will be as high octane Punisher as you've ever seen. The actor teased. I think what was really important to me and to Destin and to Tom is that we believe that the Punisher could walk off the Spider-Man set and could walk onto the special set. And I do believe that we achieved that. So they wanted to make sure it didn't feel like this Punisher we're getting is going to be disconnected from whatever this special thing is they have going, which that's a good thing. They're really worried about the quality of this presentation. I like seeing that. In Spider-Man Brand New Day, 4 years have gone by since we last caught up with our friendly neighborhood hero. Peter Parker is no more, but Spider-Man is at the top of his game, keeping New York City safe. Things are going well for our anonymous hero until an unusual trail of crimes pulls him into a web of mystery larger than he's ever faced before. In order to take on what's ahead, Spider-Man not only needs to be at the top of his physical and mental game, but he must also be prepared to face the repercussions of his past. Of course, the fallout of what happened with him getting Doctor Strange to wipe people's memories. Look, Spider-Man was trying to do the same thing, but sometimes there are consequences to these actions as a hero. This is one of the things that I've always loved about comic books, and this is playing out in the comic book movies as well. decisions are not always cut and dry. It's not like hero does thing. Thing is always exactly right. Sometimes it's hero has to make decision that might seem right on its face, but there's some fallout to that decision, but there's a bigger fallout of another decision, and you really got to choose between the two. You got to choose wisely. Sometimes there are heroes that figure out how to do it all, how to get all of the resolutions with no blowback. That's not often, though. It's not often. And I think that part of comic books makes it interesting. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Helmer, Destin Daniel Cretton directs Spider-Man Brand New Day from his script by returning Spider-Man franchise writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Yeah, I think this is I would venture to say Spider-Man Brand New Day is probably going to be a blockbuster this summer. If I was a betting man, I'd be willing to put money on it.